Right now, in a remote valley in Lebanon, there is a block of stone weighing exactly 1,242 metric tons. That is approximately 2.7 million pounds. To put that in perspective, you would need 21 Boeing 737 aircraft combined to equal the weight of this single, precisely carved monolith. The official story? The textbooks say the Romans moved it. But here is the paradox that breaks the narrative. The most powerful crane in the entire Roman Empire, the Polyspastos, had a maximum lifting capacity of just 100 tons. We are talking about a stone that is 12 times heavier than the absolute mechanical ceiling of Roman technology. Why does the official record claim the Romans did the impossible, while the Romans' own records remain hauntingly silent? Today we are stripping away the institutional inertia to uncover the truth about the platform that Rome didn't build, but inherited. Baalbek, known as Heliopolis, the city of the sun, is a masterclass in architectural superposition. There is no doubt that the Temple of Jupiter, with its 22-meter-high columns, is a Roman masterpiece. We have the inscriptions, we have the stylistic evolution of the Corinthian capitals. But look beneath the Roman splendor. The complex sits on a podium, a massive stone platform that elevates the entire site. In archaeology, we call this a palimpsest, a site rewritten over thousands of years. Deep within the western retaining wall sit the Trilithon, 3 stones that average 800 to 1,000 tons each. They were placed 7 meters above the ground. If the Roman cranes topped out at 100 tons, we are looking at a 900% deficit in engineering capability. How do you close a gap that large using only hemp rope and wooden pulleys? In 1898, a meticulous German archaeological expedition, led by professional excavators, found something that should have rewritten history. They recovered dedicatory material in Latin that described the Roman work as being built super antiquum locum, literally upon the ancient place. The Romans weren't claiming the megaliths, they were acknowledging they were building on top of something that was already there. In the highly political world of Roman epigraphy, claiming credit for a building was a legal requirement to assert ownership over sacred geography. Yet in a civilization that documented every tax record and military skirmish, there is not a single Roman sentence claiming the Trilithon. The silence isn't a missing page in history. The silence is the answer. To understand what happened, we must travel 900 meters from the temple to the limestone quarry. There lies the Hajar al-Hibla. This stone is fully separated from the bedrock on 3 sides. The quarrying channels are deep, precise, and undeniably intentional. Using the Mohs scale of mineral hardness, we know that cutting local limestone, rated 3 to 4, requires tools that are significantly harder. While the Romans had iron, the scale of these cuts and the uniformity of the surface preparation matched the Trilithon stones perfectly. This was not an abandoned experiment. This was a project in motion. The Trilithon was meant to be a quadrilithon. Something, a war, a cataclysm, or the sudden collapse of a civilization, halted the work while a 1,200-ton block was being prepared for transport. Whoever moved the stones in the wall was the same entity that cut the stone, and they were operating at a level of logistics that we cannot replicate today without specialized hydraulic equipment. If not Rome, then who? While some mainstream scholars suggest the Hellenistic period, others like Friedrich Reget have argued for an even earlier origin, the Late Bronze Age. But even that may be too recent. We see a global pattern emerging. At Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, we have sophisticated stone circles built 12,000 years ago, a time when humans were supposed to be simple hunter-gatherers. At Giza, we see 80-ton blocks move with surgical precision. The gap between what was built and what we can prove about how it was built is where the real history lives. It is possible that these master builders possessed a transmission of knowledge, perhaps acoustic, thermal, or chemical stone softening techniques that was lost when their societies collapsed. The physical evidence of 1,200-ton stones suggests a lost chapter of human capability that institutional history is simply too slow to acknowledge. Why does UNESCO still attribute the entire site to Rome? It isn't a conspiracy, it's institutional inertia. Once a story is printed in a 1920s textbook, it becomes remarkably resistant to new evidence. Correcting the record requires an admission of error that institutions rarely have the courage to make. The biggest lie about Baalbek is the omission. It is the decision to present an incomplete picture as if it were finished. The Trilithon stones belong to an earlier chapter, one written by a civilization that understood gravity, geometry, and mass in ways that challenge our modern ego. The best scientists and historians are those willing to say, "We don't fully know yet." That honesty isn't a weakness. It's the beginning of genuine discovery. The stones of Baalbek are still there, 1,200 tons of evidence waiting for an explanation that fits the facts, not the narrative. Who do you believe placed the Trilithon? Was it a Bronze Age miracle or a legacy from a much older, lost era? Tell us your reasoning in the comments. If you value evidence over comfort, subscribe. Every week we investigate the places where the physical evidence and the official record stop agreeing. The next one will surprise you even more. Stay safe and stay curious.